Today marks the 10th anniversary of the International Day of the Girl Child. The UN General Assembly adopted a resolution to recognize the day in 2011. It was to highlight the rights and the unique challenges that girls face around the world. This year's UN theme is Our Time is Now, Our Rights, Our Future. While the UN notes that progress has been made on issues that matter to girls, there are continued challenges. These include the COVID-19 pandemic, humanitarian conflicts, and climate change. Well, with us now to discuss this is Miss Anita Bhadia, a Deputy Executive Director for UN Women. Miss Bhadia, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Good to be with you.
Great to have you back, ma'am. Now, as we mentioned, today is the 10th anniversary of the International Day of the Girl Child. So has there been any progress made since its inception in 2011?
I think we have seen progress on a number of important fronts. For example, access to education by girls, changes in the rate of female genital mutilation, which really affects girls in certain parts of the world, declines in child marriage, declines in the rate of HIV/AIDS for girls. We have seen progress on a number of these fronts. Well, what has happened is that the pandemic actually changed the trajectory of the change for a number of girls. So, areas where girls were progressing took a big hit during the pandemic, for example, girls' education. And now the rate of learning poverty among girls is again very high.
That's really interesting how the pandemic has impacted this progress, ma'am. Now, in terms of one of the biggest women's rights movements in the world happening right now, we could see that in Iran, where women are protesting following the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in the hands of morality police. So what is a UN Women's stance on the protests being held in that country?
Well, first of all, we believe in the right to peaceful protest, and we have issued a statement strongly affirming that we believe that people all over the world have the right to protest. And we have asked that they be allowed to protest peacefully without fear of violence and without fear of reprisal. This is something that is very concerning to us because we stand for human rights, and any situation where there is an abuse of human rights or a violation of human rights is of concern to us.
And unfortunately, Iran isn't the only country that has implemented such dangerous and oppressive systems for women and girls in their country. So just how prominent of an issue is this internationally, Ms. Bhatia?
I think this is a very big issue today. If you look at Afghanistan and what is happening there, where girls are still denied very fundamental rights like the right to an education and the right to go to school, you would have to look around the world today and say things are much worse for girls today than they were just a few years ago.
And even without any oppressive regimes, we know girls continue to face inequalities around the world. So in what other ways are girls being kept back from their progress?
Well, I think the whole issue first of learning poverty that occurred during the pandemic is really, really important. And it is very important for public policy makers to focus on getting girls back to school and to make sure that they're able to make up for the gap of the last few years. The second thing is something like child marriage, which affects girls in many different parts of the world, is something that we really have to attack with a sense of urgency. So while it's true that about 10 years ago, you had about 1 in 4 girls getting married really young, and today that number is about 1 in 5, it really needs to be zero because child marriage is a form of violence against girls. So, this is something that because policymakers are so busy dealing with inflation, the war, the breakdown of supply chains, the rise in interest rates, the bandwidth and the space for dealing with these issues simply isn't there. But this is what the future of the world depends on, making sure that girls get back into school, children get back into school, and that these kinds of age-old practices like child marriage, come to an end once and for all.
Definitely, ma'am. Now, we've got a quick 30 seconds left here, but what would you say is the main takeaway you would want our viewers and even officials watching this to take away from this interview?
International Day of the Girls isn't just for talk. It is really for translating policy commitments that governments have made into action. This is an urgent agenda, and we need to be worrying about this because girls are our future. Children are our future. So if we don't focus on making sure that those who are holding the world in their hands are actually in a position to be fully enjoying their rights, then I think we are really facing the prospect of a very perilous planet.
All right, Ms. Bhatia, some very moving words there. Thank you again for your time today.
Pleasure to be with you. Thank you.